I hope all are like downloaded your softwares. If you're done with your installation, fine. If you are not yet done your installation, means like I upload a video in a drive with a name called software installation or something, which contains Visual Studio and data tools, SQL Server installation, everything. Just go through that video, and if you are facing any issues, please let me know. So as part of tabular SSAS development, if you want to develop the tabular cubes or Power Pivot in SQL Server, we are going to use a software called Data Tools. That is what we already installed. Then after, if you want to work there, so Data Tools, you have a file option is there, File, New, Project. There you have a different templates will be there based on your selection at the time of installation of your Visual Studio. So in order to work with analysis services, we have a business intelligence. Under that, analysis services templates are there. In that, we have 5 templates are there. One is two are for multidimensional and two are for tabular, and another one is for Power Pivot. So now we are going to see how to work with the tabular SSAS. We don't require any multidimensional SSAS, but Power Pivot I will give an assignment. You people need to take care of it. And tabular I am going to teach. So here we have a two templates are there. Analysis services tabular project, import from server, which is a tabular. We are focusing on this one. Once we are done with that, we'll see about this one. Now, if you want to create a tabular SSAS project, you need to use these data tools and file new project, business intelligence analysis services tabular project. This template you need to select. Then after, here you need to provide that project name, whatever the name that you want to give for your solution. This is a project name and a solution name. Solution is nothing but a solution can contain more than one project. Okay, a solution refers to a project, and you can design your product as a different solutions. So in a single solution, you can have ETL project and analysis services project and database project, everything. So that is up to you how you want to organize as part of Visual Studio. Now you can give your project name, whatever the name that you want to give. And where you want to place that solution, the source code. In this folder I want to save the code. Click on OK. Whenever you are creating that project, it is asking you what to where you are going to deploy and what is the server, like from 2012 tabular SSS are available, where you are going to deploy. So these two things it is asking. First one is what is the server name you wanted to deploy, server name, and that server belongs to which version of SQL Server. You need to specify that one. Let's assume you don't have the server name at the time of development. You can take the internal local server, and once you are done with your once you are done with your development and testing, at that time you can change it to another server if required later. So for me, I have one server is there, and which is of 2016. Click on OK. So whenever you create a project, you are going to get this kind of window, Solution Explorer, which contains the references and a model. This is the main one. A model contains whatever the tables that you are imported. So for now, we create a project which contains this empty template. You are able to see that there are two things are there: data view and relationship view. You don't have anything. Why? Because we are not yet imported. Now, once you are created a empty solution, here, as I said, you will have a data from SQL Server. The best practice is, as I said today morning, you need to get the data in SQL Server. From there, you are going to load here, or Azure load here, or this tabular SSAS is giving you an option to take the data from Oracle also, or Teradata also, or any sources. You can load the data. So now what we are going to do is, we are going to load the data from a different sources, and here we are going to do a data modeling, which is nothing but creating relationships and creating measures and everything. So we create empty solution. What we need to do is, we need to load the raw tables, or the tables which are ready for data modeling. You need to load the tables. So if you want to load the tables into tabular SSAs for modeling, you have a model option is there. You have an option called import from a data source. Whenever you click on it, it is giving you the options. It is giving you many options to select. Okay, SQL Server and data warehouse, Azure SQL, Access, Oracle, Teradata, and everything. So I have a data of Azure data warehouse and click on next. Here you need to provide the server name and the username and password to which server you wanted to connect. For that, just give me a second. Server name, and I given the server name and username and password to which server I need to connect. And if these are correct, it is going to authenticate and it is going to showcase the list of databases which are available. I selected a database. Then after, click on next. You can provide a proper name to your connection. Whatever the server you are pointing, you can give. Click on next, or you can test the connection, because what, as it is succeeded, it is showcased database, so no need to worry at all. And the same options here, and click on next. Here, once you deploy your project, how the database need to connect to the source, we need to specify here, which is nothing but we have a service accounts will be there, so you can configure through service account. Click on next, and here it is giving you two options. Either you can import the tables, or you can write a query and you can get the result set of it. So click on here, it is going to showcase the list of tables or views or any table valued functions. It is going to showcase. I'm selecting a couple of tables. Click on finish. So I loaded 5 tables and that 5 tables are displayed over here. You can create a relationship between them and you can create a measures here. So if you want to load the data or if you wanted to load a tables or a table structure into your tabular SSAS, you need to go through import from data source, import from a data source, which is nothing but if you are not yet connected to that source, you need to go through that import from data source. If you already connected and you wanted to load a few more tables, you have an option called existing connections. So I already connected to one source and I wanted to load a few more tables. Click on next and select the tables, and here you have select related tables option is there. Select related tables means as part of your database, Oracle database or SQL Server database, you have a modeling will be there, like primary and foreign keys were specified at that place only. In that scenarios, if you want to select the related tables also, all the parent tables, if you want to select, you have an option called select related tables. Preview and filter, which is nothing but, let's assume the table contains lot of columns. I want to load only few columns, or I want to filter down only few records. In that scenario, you can filter it down. Let me select a proper table. So here I have social media networking, like social analytics are there. If I want to see what data we have, it is showcasing. Let's assume I don't want some other column, I can remove it. Or if I want only the information related to Facebook, I can do a filtering here. So I'm going to load the data of this table where the source is Facebook and I'm selecting only 3 columns. So if you want to do a basic filtering, you can do it. So whatever you are able to see here, all these options are available in Power BI also as part of edit queries. We are going to discuss tomorrow. So those options are available here. If you want to remove that filter, you can remove it. Then after click on finish. We already selected this table, so I'm clicking on cancel. So now what you need to understand so far is, if you wanted to load a data from a new source which you are not yet connected, you need to select an option called import from a data source. If you want to load the data from already loaded, already connected source, you need to select an existing connections option. Existing connections options, if you showcase, you have an option called open. If you want to load a few more tables, let's assume you need to change the connection string. You developed everything in one environment. You need to do deploy in a production environment, a regression environment, or UAT environment. You need to load the data from UAT source or regression source. You need to change the connection string of a source. So at that time, you can change the connection string from here. And process, I will tell you later. If you want to remove the connection, you can remove it. Whenever you are removing it, first of all you need to remove all the objects. At the end you can remove this one. So this is how you can load the data in a data tools SSAS project. Then after, once you load here, you need to create a relationship between them, which is nothing but data modeling. So I loaded a tables called site performance, post data, customer metrics, brand sentiment, account insights, and we need to make a relation between all these tables. For that, or any project, generally we require a date dimension table is required. Okay, so the date dimension table you can create it with the help of a DAX, or you can load from your database also. So now you are able to see two windows here. One is data view, which you used to observe as part of Power BI also. For each table you can see the data, and this is a relationship view where you can create a relationships. Now let me create a small table. Calendar is a DAX function which is going to generate a calendar for the given dates. Start and end date provided. One second. No problem. The mistake is here. So I created one new table with date column, and then after you can convert it. The basic properties are available over here. You have a properties tab which is going to represent the properties of that column. So if you want to change that column, like by default it's a date, and it is showcasing, it is referring exact 0 hours, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. But I want to have a short date. I taken the short date, and from this I can generate a columns called year of that date. and from here I can generate a new column, month of date. So this is what we are doing in a tabular SSAS in a Power BI with the help of a calculated column, and which is nothing but a new column, new measure. So whatever you are going to do there, we are going to do from here, and I'm extracting a month name from the date format, and here the date. So I created 3 columns based on the date that I have. Let me rename it. Here month ID and month name. So now you can create a relation between them. I have a different data sets, different tables are there. I need to relate everything together, and I need to create a report. For that, I am making all the tables related together, or not to make them play with the date. So account insights or brand sentiment. Let's consider what data that you have as part of it. Brand sentiment. You can see the brand sentiment is nothing but sentiment analysis that we used to perform as part of live environment. Sentiment analysis is nothing but based on the feedback, whether it is a positive, negative, or a neutral. We are going to take the feedback from a customer and how happy they are. We are going to analyze. How you are going to analyze that one? Based on sentiment analysis. We are not going to read each and every comment. We are not going to remember each and every comment. How you are going to define whether they are happy or they are not happy or they are neutral? We are going to perform sentiment analysis. So for that we have a separate tools are there. Those are going to read your comment and they are going to make your comment as any one of the category, positive or a negative or a neutral. So if someone has a time, go through an article called what is a sentiment analysis. That will help you as part of your projects in order to keep in a resume or as part of your organizations for your further reports. Remember that one. Now I have some data, some data is there. I will not explain everything. I will explain only one table or two tables. Then after I will continue the things. I will complete this SSAS development. After a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, I will give a proper data and I will give a requirement where you are going to struggle with data modeling, where you need to think about how to tune the data, how to bring for a data modeling and everything. So I will give that data and I will give that requirement. We'll discuss as part of a class also. We'll spend some time on it. Okay, but at here if I discuss it will take 30 hours of time, 40 hours of time for only this one. So I will as I covered Power BI, each and every option I'm going to explain and I will continue that my activity here. But we are going to work on one project where you will feel all the difficulties which you are like if someone gives a data, what are all the difficulties that you need to face to deliver something. I will I will include everything as part of one requirement. We all will work in a class on that one, each one step by step. For now I am explaining only one table which I have and we will continue. So this is related to sentiment analysis, and then after one of the dimension that I have is the positive or negative or neutral, and there are some comments which might are not categorized. So here the sentiment either one, like on each day for each source, how many negatives are there, how many positives are there, that data is there here. So here I am converting this column into proper date column. So for that we have an option called properties. You can convert the date into short date, and then after Then after, go to the relationship view. From a brand sentiment, you have mentioned it is there. That one I'm going to link with this date. The same way, however, you used to create a relationships in Power BI. Everything is same. I created it. Now, as I created, I can see, go to the table, and I want to see the sum of sentiment. How many are negative? How many are positive? How many are neutral? Month wise, how many positive? How many negative? I want to see. If I want to see, whenever you are working with the numeric columns, I said you need to create a measure. Whenever you are creating a measure, for a default things called sum, min, max, average, you have by default functions are there. You don't need to write anything. So sum of mentions I am mentioning equals to the sum of the table name brand sentiment of the column name called sentiment. Click on it. So this is 438420, where you need to represent with a thousand separator, or it might be sometimes it might be an amount. For all that configuration, you can do from properties window. Select that one, properties, and specify it as whole number and thousand separator. Make it as a true, so that for after thousand it is going to get commas, and that is only the option that we have. Now, once you are done with that, you can build it. You can build it so that it is going to verify if you have any errors. If no errors are there, you can deploy it. So right click on it and check what is the server name you are going to deploy. Then after, deploy it. Whenever you are deploying, two things are there. One is deploy metadata. Deploy metadata is nothing but your project template, the table structures, measures that you created, relationships that you created, the complete thing, whatever you have done, that is what deploy metadata. Then after, by default, it is going to push the data to the server. We'll see that one later. So I deployed. Now, what I am done so far is, remember or understand here, what I am done is, I created a empty tabular SSAS project by opening a Visual Studio, file new business intelligence SSAS tabular project. Then after empty prot I created, I loaded the data from Azure data warehouse with the help of a model, import sources, selected a Azure data warehouse, provided credentials and selected the tables and loaded. Then after, I created a one DAX table called, I didn't give the proper name, so one date table I created. On top of it, I created a month ID, month name and year, and I created a relationship between sentiment analysis table and date table. I created only one measure, which is nothing but a sum of sentiments or sum of mentions. Then after, I deployed it. Basic things. Now, once I deployed, where that is available is SQL Server Analysis Services server. That will be there. That is what the starting point to today's morning class. That is what the starting point for yesterday's last 10 minutes of discussion. We got the data from Analysis Services server. But how you are sending the data to Analysis Services server, that is what you observed so far. Okay. So now, let me go to my Analysis Services server. And so here, whatever the product that I created, Azure SSAS demo 1, that is available here. Now, if you want to see the data associated, or if you want to browse the data, if you want to test something, whether it is working fine or not, you can test it here. How many negatives are there, you can test. How many positives are there, you can test. With respect to Facebook, how many are there, or with respect to YouTube, how many are there, you can test it. But if I want to test it based on a related table, if I want to test based on a month name or month ID or another column, dates are fine, another based on another columns, if I want to test, I cannot test. So I need to deploy it. Or I have another option called analyze in Excel. I will tell you regarding that one. For now I deployed. Now you need to connect it to your analysis services server, and the server name you need to provide where you deployed. And once you refresh, you can see your database. There, click on a browse. Click on a browse. You are able to see that whatever the measures that you created, only one measure that I created, what are all the tables or dimensions that you have. Now browse it. So 438, 420, the same one that you observed from a Visual Studio also. Without filter. And if you want to see like positive, negative or neutral, how many are there, if you want to see, we have I don't know what is the column name. The column name is pivot key value. Load, drag that one. You can see that negatives or neutrals or positive, how many are. If you want to see this year 2017, how many you have, you can browse the year 2017. It is representing for 2017. This is the thing. You want to see month wise, you are able to see each month how many are there. You can analyze your data with the help of a browse option. Sometimes the server is available on another network, or on the same server some other is working. At the time you can analyze everything with the help of Excel. So now it is working fine. You can consider month wise and key value wise, year wise, you are getting the proper values. So whatever the relation that you created, that is working fine. Now the same thing whatever I done called browse, you can do from here also with the help of analyze in Excel. Analyze in Excel is nothing but whatever you developed. If you want to browse it, if you want to test it without deployment, you need to click on that analyze in Excel. An Excel will be opened with the model that you created. There you can drag and drop. Please test it from your end. I am working on Azure mission. There the MS Office is not installed, and whatever the export analyze in Excel option is there, that will not give you a download copy. That will by default open. So I cannot open here. From your end, at the time of practice, click on analyze in Excel. If you are facing any issues, please let me know. That is what analyze in Excel. And the next one is process. Before explaining the process, so here the sum of mentions I selected, and solution explorer will contain one model. You have an option called tabular model explorer. The tabular model explorer is nothing but whatever the objects that you are creating as part of your project, those will be organized under tabular model explorer. So at this point of time, we connected one source that is available here, or you are not yet created KPIs. You created one measure that is available here, and you have the relationships. We created one relationship that is available here, and the list of tables that you loaded, it is showcasing here. Now the first one is data sources. You know that what do you mean by a data source? A data source refers a particular database a specific database or a specific file, a specific source it is going to point out. Consider if you have a server, you have a server which contains three databases. A connection or data source refers to not a server. It refers to a specific database. So we are connected to one specific database. Let's assume I want to load the data from another database. You cannot go with existing connections. Why? Because the connection was targeted to this one on the same server. If you want to load another one, you need to model import from a data source and you need to provide this server name only, but the database you need to select is this one. So data source refers to a specific database. So the list of data sources that you connected, that will be showcased under data sources. Here import from a data source means add a new source here. Existing connections means if you want to see the existing connections or change the connections, that will showcase here. And on a connection level, we have import new tables, edit data source. Edit data source means if you want to change the connection string, you can change it from here. Or if you want to import a few more tables, we have an option called import new tables. Delete means deleting a connection. As I said, if you want to delete this one, you need to remove all the data, all the tables of that connection. Next, KPIs, key performance indicators. So I showcased a KPI visualization in a Power BI also. Or if I want to see, if I want to represent, like generally we have more operational reports will be there. Operational reports are nothing but the existing reports. Okay, it's like what is happening now. We are representing through a report, which means we are going, something is happening at this point of time as part of this week or 2 weeks of process or this month of process. We are creating a reports and we are going to display the live data. As part of it, I know what I am going to get. Okay, let's consider, I don't want to give an example, but let's consider, let's assume that, fine, I don't want to give the example, but fine. So if you want, if you know the target, I know the target, what I am going to get, what I am going to achieve, or I know the target, I need to achieve something, and I know what is happening at this point of time. There you can represent that one with the help of KPIs. And you know that Gauss visualization we saw through a KPI, that is a higher level, aggregate level, that one. I want to see individual level. I want to drill down at all the levels. At that time, you have these KPIs are there. Whether you reached your target or not, what is your status, on which grade you are, in order to represent that one, you have KPIs are there. If you want to create a KPI, you require two things. One is, what is your target? Second one is, where you are. So now, the sum of mentions are there, and I'm right clicking on it. I want to create a one KPI. If you want to create a KPI, at least one measure is required. On the other hand, we can create another measure which is having a target. Like if I have any other column which contains a target, I can use it. Even if I don't have, fine. Select that measure. You have an option called create a KPI, or you can right click on it, create a KPI. Now you need to specify what is the KPI name, which by default will come with the measure name itself, and a measure. What is your target? Do you have the target value as part of a measure, or that target value is ad hoc based on each value? Let's assume here we have different dimensions are there. I have a different targets for a different social media. Do you have that kind of thing? You can select it. If not, I am specifying, boss, I am looking for 1000 mentions out of it, or I am looking for 3000 mentions for every month. out of 3000, if I get less than 1500, I want to showcase it as red. Between 1500 to 3000, or between 1500 to 25 or 23, whatever I can mention here, 23. Between that, I want to represent in yellow. More than 2, 3, if I want to represent in a green color. That is what I want to indicate the status. For that, these are the different options are there. What option you wanted to select, how you want to represent that status. You can represent with this traffic signals or a flags, the symbols, whatever you want, you can select it. I am selecting this one and click on OK. Click on OK. This is only the thing that you need to configure. Click on OK. So KPI was created. Once I create that one, it is showing that the list of KPIs that you have. And once you are done with that, rebuild it. Deploy it. Deployment was done. Now here take new Power BI report and click on analysis services. Provide the server name. For server name, and database, as I said, if you remember, you can keep it. Otherwise, you can select from here, not a problem. Selected a model, click on it. Here, I'm creating a table for that the brand sentiment and the pivot key value represent positive, negative, or neutral. So I want to showcase what is the value, how many sentiments are there for it, whether I reach a goal or not. Okay, goal means the value, that status. It is saying that boss, you made it. As you know, the measures are aggregated at this level. Let me increase the size. Saying boss, you made it. You reached more than 2300. That's why I'm representing a green color. But I can drill down this one like anything. Here I will take another slicer and I will use the year, and I will take another slicer, month name, and I am taking now I am selecting only 2017, and I am selecting only it for August. So whenever I selected a 2017 August, it is showcasing that the negatives, positives, neutrals, wherever it is between 1500 and 2300, it is showcasing a different icon. But these things, it is showcasing that whether it is greater than 2, 3 or not. If yes, it is showcasing this one. And I have another dimension is there, which is nothing but mentioned source. I can use a source. So as part of that source, there are some things which are having a less than 1500. You are showcasing that with a different symbol. Okay, so based on the value, why? Because this is a measure. Based on the value at whatever the level that you are seeing, at that level it is verifying that KPI or a formula. If it is more than 25 or 23, whatever I mentioned, it is showcasing a green. If it is less than 1500, it is showcasing a red. And if it is between a 15 to 23, it is showcasing a different symbol. So that is what the use of a KPI. If I want the same kind of functionality that is not there with existing visualizations, okay, but that kind of requirements are most common in all the reporting tools. Even I do have that kind of requirement at this point of time. Okay, so that is why I told you people to practice that KPI matrix visualization. I'm not sure how much that is going to help, but just give me a second. Fine, I will showcase that requirement later. Okay, so that is what the KPIs are. KPI is nothing but a key performance indicator which is going to represent the status, or you can specify what is your target and what is actual, what is happening. Once again, fine. So if you want to represent the status, you can use that KPI visualization, and that will be executed at the granular level. Whatever you are seeing at that level, it is going to execute. It is going to display the status. Now that is how you can create a KPI, and if you want to remove the KPI, you can select it and you can edit the KPI or you can delete the KPI. And if you want to edit the formula, like for the measure, if you want to change it, you can change it. Now KPIs are nothing but that one. So anyone has any question up to here? How to connect a data source, and then after, what do you mean by KPIs? Any questions up to here? Anyone has any questions? Arpit, Murali, Brahma, Geetan, Jahnavi, Manoj, Krishna, Krishnaveni, Manasa, Sugata, Shivprasad, and Shankar Reddy. Fine. Okay, fine. The next one is the measures. Measures you already know. I already given a heads up as part of second or third class, and we are going to continue. We are going to work on measures as part of a DAX sessions. Measures were done, and the fourth one is perspectives. Perspectives are nothing but it's a kind of a view. Okay, so perspective is a part of a cube or slice of a cube. So sometimes, like as part of live environment, the models are having a huge amount of tables. Even though you are representing the data through facts, you are going to have lot of dimensions. You must create a dimension tables for the sake of the other requirements. Even though you are going to work 2 or 3 fact tables, you need to create a 30 dimension tables. At that times, whenever you are analyzing, in order to analyze easily, you can disable some tables. You can disable some tables means you can hide, like as part of your analysis part, you can avoid some tables, not from a cube, but your file you can remove it. That you can do with the help of a perspective. So what a perspective is nothing but it's a slice of a cube whatever you are constructing, and here you can add whatever the table that you want to that perspective. So whenever you wanted to analyze, you don't need to load the complete model, or you don't need to, it's not loading a complete model. So if you want, you can, like, let's assume you developed something and you wanted to give for user acceptance testing, or you wanted to validate that one whatever the model that you created, or someone need to validate. So whatever we created, that we feel that that is correct, someone need to test it, right? So if you want to share it, any module is any specific module for someone, you can create a slice of it, whatever they required you can create it and you can share it with them, they can test it. At the same way, that will helpful to you whenever you want to work on a specific part of a cube or a model. Perspective will help you, but perspective is not a physical one, okay, and where you cannot define, or where you cannot insert, or where you cannot provide any security on it. That will not helpful for your delivery, okay. So but that will helpful, as I said, for this user acceptance testing or as part of your analysis. If you want to load only specific table as part of analysis, that will be helpful. So how to create that perspective is, so here, one second. So here partition, this is the perspective. You can create a perspective here. You can see that this is the by default perspective which contains all these tables. But I want to create a new perspective, or I created this one. Someone asked you people, boss, I want to test your data, I want to work on it, but I don't want to give the remaining 4 tables with you people. I want to give only the date table and the broad sentiment whatever I used at that time. For the sake of few people asked me, do I need to remove all my tables? Not required. Or do I need to create another cube? Not required. What I can do is I will create a perspective, and I will select only the tables which are required. In that also, I don't want to share another things which are not useful. But anyways, these will be, the column filtering will anyways will be done from a main cube only, which is nothing but unnecessary columns we are going to hide from our cube. Okay, that I will discuss later. But for now, whatever the tables that I want to share, I will select, or whatever the column that I want to share, I will select, and then after we will share, we'll create that perspective here. So once the perspective is created, you can see that test is created. If I want to see what a test contains, select this one, test. You can see the test perspective contains only these 2 tables. Only these 2 tables. If someone asks, I will create a one perspective, I no need to recreate a cube, I no need to reload the tables, I no need to recreate relationships, and I don't to recreate a measures or KPIs. With a single minute I am done. I am going to deploy it. Build it and deploy it. Then after, cancel. Here you can see a test perspective is there. It is showcasing only 2 tables. You can analyze that one. Only the 2 tables you can analyze. You no need to recreate all these things. We can create another perspective like this, and I will give that perspective as part of Excel to another person. They can see only those 2 tables and they will test only those things. Okay, or I can analyze only that data. I don't need to load 40 tables. For that scrolling itself, it will take 1 hour to me. Okay, so perspective is a part of a cube. are part of a model, whatever you refer, cube or a model, whatever you refer, are like as I said, you cannot provide a security there. Okay, you cannot create anything on there. Like that is for read-only access part of a cube. So now you can create a perspective. You can create a perspective from here. From here, perspective, whatever you want, you can create any how many number of perspectives that you want. You can create. You can select a tables. You can select a columns, and then after whatever you created, you can test it from here. Or like you can select the perspectives whatever you have, and then after whatever you created, that will come under a tabular model explorer perspectives. So those ones you can analyze it. Only that part of the cube you can analyze it by opening analyze in Excel here or deploying there. So that is what the perspective concept. And the relationships here also you can create a relationship by selecting your table by source and destination tables, and then after the columns you need to mention, and then after cardinality auto it will be selected, and the filter direction singular both that you want to make that relationship active or not. So based on this one we'll spend some time in the coming sessions, but these options which you already know, active means you want to enable that relationship or not, that's it. So relationships we already know how to create, and you have a relationship manager is there, so where you can create, edit or delete the relationships, which is exactly equivalent to that the Power BI. That is what relationships concept. Under roles here, if you want to implement any security in a Power BI, you are going to define with the help of a roles the static and dynamic security whatever you are creating. You are going to create a role with the help of these rules. So we are going to see this one day after tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll close the remaining properties of SSAS 2 hours, and 2 hours 8 queries we are going to see, and then after day after tomorrow we'll see the security concept. At the time we'll discuss. And any questions up to here? Balamurli, go ahead. I can now. Yeah, once after installing everything, all the software, I think we'll get a better picture once we started practicing that. Did you download the software or not yet? Not yet, Srinivas. Okay, fine. Fine. Anyways, I am not going to continue now. So fine. So yes, no, that will be fine. But whatever I explained, are you able to understand it or not? Okay, fine. So anyone has any questions so far? Whatever I discussed. Yes, sir.
Prospective means that is a subset of views or subset of tables we have to
No, no. Can you please
create
repeat
both
your
are views.
1 second?
Prospective
Perspective is yes.
subset of cube or is only act as a view.
It is a subset of cube.
Okay.
Like go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead, no problem. You can.
No, I need to understand your question. Your question
No,
very clearly.
actually,
Hmm.
in cubes we can see just only views, right?
In a cube, you can see views.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that one?
Generally, a cube, we yeah, as you said, it's a table, and by using tables also we can create cubes, right?
That is what we done now. Yes.
Mm, fine. I just want to know that it only.
Okay. So whatever. See, like here, a cube or a model, both are same. A model contains a data from a different connections, and that data related together, and that relation is of a different types. That we are going to relate in a star model or a snowflake model. How you are related all the tables, based on that we are going to say that it's a star schema or a snowflake schema, but that is nothing but based on the relationship that we have between the different tables. Now in our scenario, we load the data from Azure data warehouse and we try to create a relationship between two tables, and all are physical tables only those are, and on top of it we are creating a perspective. So on that perspective, if you say that boss, as part of a brand sentiment, here I have all the three categories are there, but my perspective need to contain only negative. It will not be possible. It is allowing you to slice your cube with respect to tables, number of columns. It is not number of rows. It is not slicing you, allowing you to slice number of rows also. So it's just a view on top of your cube, and it will not allow you to create something at a perspective level. For the sake of perspective, you are not going to do anything. Okay, anything whatever you do at a table level, that will be reflected at a perspective. So a perspective is a subset or a slice or a view on top of your cube. There is no specific extra functionality for a perspective. If you want any extra functionality for a perspective, you need to do it base table level.
I got it, training.
Perfect. Anyways, for other people, I extended that one. Anyone has any other questions? Oh, a lot of discussion is happening there. Fine. So I'm stopping here. We'll continue from here in the next session, which is nothing but tomorrow morning. And tomorrow morning, we are going to continue with SSAS only, and I will complete the remaining part of these things called the tables, whatever the hierarchies are, translations, so that here the part will be completed, and whatever available as part of a model, table, column, everything will be covered. And first 2 hours we are going to spend time on that, and then after I am going to continue, like we have another session tomorrow, another 2 hours of time. That, as I said, like I thought many people are going for vacation, but people are available. So fine. So based on tomorrow morning resources, I will take a call that first 7 to 9 class will be continued. Then after, based on the resources, I will take a decision that I need to hold that class to evening again 8 to 10 or something, or continuing the discussion from 10 to 12. I will take a call. People who are available, they can continue, and who is not going to available, I will share the video with them. So no need to worry at all. So 2 hours for SSAS, 2 hours for edit queries will be discussed. Early morning discussion will be SSAS. People who ever not downloaded the software and not installed the softwares, sit now, download and install those things today night itself. Okay, for a Power BI, tabular SSAS is very important, and I cannot hold this one for a long time. Okay, that's it from my end. If you have any questions, you can wait. Otherwise, good night all. We'll connect tomorrow morning at 7. Continuation discussion with SSAS.